Throwing.
Nobody on yet, but we'll keep an eye out.
All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:03. Want to do roll call, David, first?
Yes. Mary Ann Banks,
Here.
Natalie Draws,
Here.
Ian Hurley,
Here.
Pat King,
Here.
Langston. Amanda Rost,
Here.
Tom Sobchak,
Here.
Michelle Varnell,
Here.
and JJ Zanetta.
We're gonna start right off.
Right.
I was ready for the minutes or citizens' comments. All right, so for this meeting, we cannot, this is a kind of a new start to a new year. We need to nominate and elect a advisory board chairperson. This person basically runs the meetings and looks at the agenda ahead of time and deals with any other outside issues that are rare.
While we're doing that, does anyone, the 7 o'clock meeting time is a problem for me. I know it's a problem for you at 6.
Yeah, you want earlier or later?
I was gonna ask if we could go back to 6.
Okay. We could talk about it, but let's do that. Let's add that at
Because
the
that
end.
might affect officers, right?
Oh, I mean,
6 not work for you at all.
I think 6 is hard for people coming from another location. Like I know in the past boards, like if people work downtown, it's hard to get here by 6.
All the other boards start at 6.
They do, and if you recall,
And I
this
have-
was a big to-do to change it to 7.
And now we want to change it back to 6.
Because I have some other conflicts at 7, but I mean, if you have a conflict.
I
at
don't have a
6,
conflict. I can make it, I can make whatever work. And if
Are
thinking
you
about the
sure?
fall, I'm gonna have a daughter playing a varsity sport that's gonna start at 7, so I can make whatever work. How does everybody else feel about 6 versus 7? Anybody else have an opinion? Does not. matter
Yeah,
to me.
I'm fine with it.
It's fine. 6 is.
Tom's not here, but
Tom's.
That's not good for you.
Oh, I don't have an opinion.
My youth sport days are over, so I'm agnostic,
Days are over.
whatever works for the most people.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think Tom can call in if he's not in town or out of town, in town, out of town.
it doesn't matter to me. I
Michelle,
think,
the
I don't
hoops you have to
speak for
jump
Phil.
through.
Oh, I don't, it's whatever.
Michelle online there, do you have any opinion about 6 versus 7 for a meeting time?
I have no preference. Either one would work for me.
But will we still do it under new business or agenda
Yes.
makes sense?
But we'll make it,
Sorry.
but it's okay.
I get it, I
impacts
understand
that
this.
For officer, that,
Yeah.
I knew that might be a problem for you, so. we're
Right.
fair
No,
for
I can
you.
make it work. It's fine. I'm local and have kids, an extra driver. We're good. Okay, so we'll go back to, we need to have, so somebody basically has to nominate someone. Then the person sort of accepts the nomination and then we vote the advisory board chair. Anyone interested in serving?
Are you gonna nominate Tom?
He nominated me when I was chair last year.
Yeah,
No, I was gonna make him stay vice chair if no one wanted to do it. I will do it again if that is what needs to happen. But someone has to nominate me, I think.
I would be pleased to know.
I'm not nominating
Sure.
myself. Yeah, all right, there you go, David. Tom is nominating. Do we need to, I guess we'll second.
I think, Marianne,
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there we go.
You could have got Tom good.
I could have gotten Tom good.
Well, you still can.
I was planning to on the vice chair, because that's what I did to him last time. All right, does anyone want to serve as the vice chair? Anybody, any interested parties that we can nominate? I don't want to nominate someone who's not interested. Anyone interested?
No.
It's basically you just do what I do if I'm not here.
I nominate Tom Langston.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor of Tom Langston being vice chair?
Aye.
Aye.
One opposed? Okay, Tom, we're staying the course, David. Oh, that's what works. Yeah,
There you go.
all right. I have lost track of how many years it's been, but that's good. It's a good thing.
All the power and prestige.
Oh, I know, it is. My husband filed a complaint at dinner tonight. I was like, that's really not our job, so sorry. I forget what it was.
See, she's good at this.
All right, next up is meeting minutes from the last meeting, April 16th. They're included in your packet. Does somebody make a motion to approve? Second,
Okay.
all right, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next up, citizens' comments. Are you here to just observe or do you want to make a citizen?
No, just here to
To
observe.
observe, okay. Perfect. It doesn't appear like we have anyone online or in person wanting to make a citizen's comment. That's it. Next, we're gonna fly through this till we get to the meaty stuff. Chairperson report, I don't have a report. Commission liaison report, he's not here, so he doesn't have a report. Staff liaison report.
Mine's in your packet. If you want to look through it and any, comments, questions, reach out to me. Tomorrow we'll have a contracted tree company going through Bird Park and hopefully Twin Hills if we have time. You know, just the stuff that falls in the street and on houses is one thing, but there's a lot of hidden snags up above all of our trails and kind of passive ways right now. So in the name of getting things done as quickly as we can, we decided to contract that work. So I'll be working with a vendor tomorrow going through there and we'll close trails off. We know that's a major corridor for kids going to school. So it's just kind of something of note there. No significant storm damage to any kind of infrastructure, fields, fencing, stuff like that. The center field bleachers at Dixon actually got pushed by the wind into the outfield fence, which was about 30 feet. So that was interesting.
Say that again, the center field
Center field set of
bleachers.
bleachers right in front of concession.
Okay,
Just picture it on its own going into the outfield fence. That was,
Wheels on that?
no.
wow.
They've been
Wait, what
one,
field?
Dixon.
Dixon at center.
Oh, at least it wasn't ripping turf
No,
as it went across.
yeah, there were some other big things, but nothing major. A lot of cleanup in Williamsburg. All the trees that decided to fall strategically fell around all the plantings that we've done for the last 3 years. Literally like in between them, like they knew how they were falling. So we were kind of worried about that in some of the recent planting years that we knew we'd have some come down, but we'll pretend like we planned that, so.
So out of curiosity, do you guys have a species analysis of what fell? Of which trees, which types of trees? Because I noticed up on Longview, it was all Bradford pears or Calvary pears that fell. Like,
Hard to match that up with the straight line winds and where they were and. you know,
sure, but I
You
mean,
have skip locations of 50 feet with a standing dead tree still there and you're like, why is that?
why is that so there? I was just curious, just
No,
because the ones.
that information will be populated just through cleanups and everything like that. So it's an interesting question. I will keep that in mind as the dust sort of settles here, which it's not. So I'll just keep that. Anything else, just let me know. North Meadowcroft was awarded, Done Right Construction. I believe the alternates all were funded as well, which will be a shade structure on the pickleball side. The kind of real sparse looking pines in the back half get removed. That all gets nice lawn installed. So that project will be nice. And that'll be probably the week after school's out. You'll see us mobilize there and start ripping fencing down and all that good stuff. So
Will pickleball courts be closed while you're doing that or?
if the contractor sees a need to, but I don't foresee that we will. We might padlock off that accessible gate from the court side and just kind of keep everyone filtering the other way. But we'll kind of play that as we get there and we'll address that in our pre-construction meeting. That is it. Let me know if you got anything.
Okay, Racket Center opened on May 1st. We hired a new head racket professional full-time. Megan Foster is her name, and she began working on May the 5th. And the swim center will open this Saturday.
Oh my gosh,
There you go.
there we go.
Water's in, all the water's in.
Water's in, it's always, I mean, till the last minute, we're The pool still looks great. We got a new controller. We got a lot of repairs to the floor done in the off season. We have a new, like supplemental filter added, so pool wise, I think we're all ready. We're scrubbing locker rooms and fixing what's broken. We have shower heads that, don't work for some reason. When you put a facility in mothballs for 9 months, nothing works when you start again. It's just a battle, so we're getting there.
How's the staffing?
Staffing's good. We're a little lighter, I think, than usual, but, we're hoping they're a little more committed, rather than, having 100 people that want to work
1 day a week?
15 hours.
Yeah.
We have probably, I don't know, 65 or 70, and hopefully they want to work, 30 hours or whatever. So we're doing okay. Management and supervisors, we're very strong, like more than last year. It's just lifeguards. And I think there were fewer certification classes this year, but we're still getting them trickle in, so we're hopeful. We just did our kickoff in service today and had a room full of lifeguards. So I think we'll be all right. We'll make it work.
Good news, we're looking forward to our pool party there, the school pool party. We are there.
Did you get off?
We got
Where
it
are we?
next, well, whatever the last day of school is, the 4th. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy about that. Great. All right, we'll move on to subcommittee reports. Arboretum Subcommittee, do you guys have anything to add? Okay. I don't know that we have anything going on right now with that. Okay, trail, and my understanding is that for the new people that they kind of went over everything last month. So if there's something that you don't understand, please say the word, because I'm assuming that they told you, and if they didn't tell you, you need to be told, so say something. Okay, I don't want to repeat whatever you guys talked about last month. Next up is Trail Connectivity and Mapping Subcommittee. Do you guys have anything?
No real news to report. Marianne and Natalie and Bill, maybe we can chat after the meeting for 30 seconds, just to firm up the next meeting time. I'm grateful for these monthly meetings because they remind me that I need to move on stuff, which I
Yes.
didn't do for
That's
this
right.
one, this meeting. So we'll be regrouping in the program we outlined last month. We're focusing on identifying trail types and standards related thereto. And we'll bring a report to the board, this board in the June meeting. We'll still be in the second quarter, which we're not late yet.
Sounds good. All right, old business, youth sports organizations oversight and umbrella organization. I don't have any updates on that. Lacrosse season is over June 1st, so between then and flag football season starting August, whatever, 15th. Hopefully we'll get some more progress done on that.
Can I ask? So that's an awesome idea. I love the idea. It's a great idea. Is there no engagement?
There isn't. I mean, well,
There isn't.
there is and there isn't. It just,
Been a while,
somebody needs
right?
to drive it, and I'm running 2 sports seasons, so I can't always be the person driving it. I think there is interest from everybody, but somebody has to push it forward.
So I was gonna say, should we have a subcommittee for that, or should we have some more structure? I love the idea. I love the concept. I think it's great.
Right.
But I know nobody's engaging.
Well, that's on me because I run 2 sports seasons, so and have 4 kids, so it's a matter of somebody, I want to do it.
But I thought you weren't getting response.
No, I am getting
you
response.
are?
I am getting response, but the problem is like, again, if we don't have a commissioner here at these meetings, so that's frustrating. And but from other commissioners, we have had a meeting, there is interest, there is.
I thought it was like.
No, I think there's people that are, but it's like, then you need to have the next meeting, and like Tom said, you need to do the next one and the next one and the next one and keep pushing it forward. So, and that's on me that I haven't done that, but that's because I'm caught up with doing other
Gotcha.
things.
I know you guys met in the fall.
You're correct.
Good meeting.
Right, and so it's just a matter of pushing it, and it's also, it's like the other project you've been working on. Trying to get the municipality
Right.
and the school district to work together is a big undertaking.
Yep,
It's
yep.
slow in nature, so I think we can get back to it. and hopefully find some more time to work on it.
Okay,
Okay, so,
Well, just following up on, your comment about frustration, it's frustrating, I think, at least for me and perhaps other board members, that the commissioner has not attended a meeting for multiple months now.
I think he's been to one in the whole last year.
And I don't know what the protocol is for expressing the sense of this board that we would very much appreciate commissioner representation by somebody. And if Mr. Grella doesn't have time or interest, then maybe somebody else can step in.
I think we can we write a letter to the whole commission? Is that the way to go about doing that? And I don't know if he listens to these, he may be listening to these meetings.
Has anyone reached out to him directly?
No, not in regards to that.
Let's start there.
Okay. Yeah,
Seems reasonable.
yeah,
And then, you know,
I'll take
take
that.
it from there.
yeah, I don't know if he's listening. He may be listening to them on the side. But I do notice at the monthly commission meetings, when they go around to do board updates, he doesn't have one for our group. This doesn't have one. He doesn't have an update.
Yeah,
So,
okay. I'm gonna
so I don't
send an
know if
email.
he's listening or not, but yeah.
So if you send, however you want to handle it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Amanda. If you send him an email, I may chime in and respond.
Yeah, I
to you
can,
and
I can put the board
echoing,
members,
Rick's
our
idea.
board members on it and him as well and say.
Great, Thank you.
And David, I may ask you to go back and help me with attendance, although I can tell from the previous minutes,
Correct. I mean,
to
I can
figure out the
help
last
you.
meeting.
And, you know, if you want me to reach out to him, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
But I just don't know, you know, it might make more sense for you as
Yeah,
the
that's
chair.
Okay,
Thank you for doing that.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay, moving on to the proposal to rename Middlefield. I think that's Tom's area and he talked a little bit about that last month, so I'm gonna assume since he's not here, there's no update there. Unless you know of something, David, I don't know.
Yeah, I think last meeting he said there was a petition. I don't know if it had all the required signatures, but I have not seen anything yet.
Then nothing's been submitted, so it's still a work in
I would
progress.
have to come here to be recommended first anyway, so.
All right, next up, concept to combine a new recreation center with a new stadium.
And the other thing, this will be quick, that I don't have a big update. I appreciated Commissioner Flynn's comments last month. I think generally he supports the idea of discussing it, so I appreciated that. And I think Craig supports it as well, but it's just difficult to get all the stakeholders together. I will have an update next month. And I'll have something next month to present. According to Commissioner Flynn, they have not really made a final decision on the rec center stuff. So
I don't think the final report, was the
they
final
were
report
redoing
ever?
it, they were revising it, they were
Right.
taking revisions like in December, January, February, they were doing that, but then
I don't
nothing's been finalized.
Right, we have a
The report
draft
is not-
final report and nothing has been officially accepted to my knowledge.
On the revisions
What
or
kinds of
the
amenities they should have?
On the draft final report.
draft
So that
final?
would be post any revisions that I'm aware of.
So whatever revisions they may think of will be captured in that document.
They should be in there. I think it's just a matter of formally accepting it. I mean, I can try
And
to,
that's just accepting a report. That doesn't mean that they're gonna do anything.
or asking for something to be changed before they accept it. Like, I'll talk to Ian and see where.
But they're
we-
still in like the report, accepting a report stage. They're not in like a planning or approving any
Correct.
project stage for sure.
But I know that at least Commissioner Grella had said last fall that the renderings or the concepts that they had put forward for the rec center at that time, they didn't really like. So I know they were going back to the drawing board. I'm sorry, you asked a question.
Oh, no, I was asking if what you meant, if they haven't determined all the amenities they were planning on having in the rec center at this point, like,
I think
because
they
they were still
looking
asking.
at designs, like
Yeah.
the design of the building and everything, right?
Yeah, there's three concepts, sort of a minimal renovation of existing, a bigger renovation and addition to existing to new building. So they haven't even, we haven't gotten there yet. We gotta accept the.
So no amenities yet, that's all later.
Well, I think the amenities come into the size, so
Yeah.
you're not adding like 6 basketball courts if you're just repairing the roof,
Exactly.
changing some locker rooms, you know, if you're adding a new building, then you can talk about amenities.
But I'll have more of an update next month. That's it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
and so up next is the big time consuming thing here. I think we have our project list for 2026. That is also in your packet. So the goal tonight is to finalize this list in what's on the list and then finalize the ranking of the list. And my understanding from last month, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you guys went through the projects. So everybody knew what the projects were, but there was no discussion of up or down or what number they should be. Is that accurate?
Pretty much.
And so there were some additions from that I have seen, this one that it has like a placeholder. Does that mean something specific? Or because some of those were lower dollar amounts?
I'm putting it up
So
on the
this-
screen here.
The first placeholder that comes to mind is the trail connectivity and maintenance. We can scale that to hit a capital number, or we can keep it lower to land it for operating. It's just how much trail do you want to do? So that group's working on that.
Okay,
And I have numbers from Gateway on trail type, how much per foot, so we can, it's easily thrown together, but we're still.
figuring some of that out. Okay.
And are these rankings, do these numbers actually mean that's how we rank them? Or
No,
is that
I think it's just
that's
how
just
it
a
sort of
number?
ended up. It's
Yeah.
kind of a compilation of the things at the bottom are things we added, the things at the top were things that were there last year. I don't know that there's any really,
I mean, yes, it started off as last year's ranking, so, but then things have kind of changed a little bit.
and we added on, I mean, everything at the
Yeah,
end is,
additions.
everything at the end is new. So anything really like 9 and on is new.
And several things were funded from last year's list, so they're pulled out, so it looks a lot different than last year.
But the numbers on the left doesn't mean anything. That's
No, it's just a listing. It's not a
Until
ranking.
you approve it.
Sequential order, okay.
So I guess what we normally do for this is just try to come to some kind of consensus to be a discussion. And then once we come to a consensus, vote on what we come up with.
Or I forget, are we like saying we can only have 10 or the upper dollar amount or?
No, I think the dollar amount, we've had this debate every year. I think the dollar amount, don't let it scare you whether it's high or low. I think they want it in one list. They can split it out for the various budgets and stuff. So I think we don't worry about that per se.
Anything less than 100K is gonna get split out and put into the budget if it makes sense. I mean, if it's 10th or 15th, I mean, I don't even know it could be an expansion level way out there in the budget, but I don't know if we
Yeah.
wanna.
I think last
that
year we
far.
had 10 and that was a good number. That I don't know that they look much past that. And again, they can pull out some smaller items. But I think if there's something that you really want done, it needs to be in the top 10 or even the top 5. Because I do think they pay attention to where things fall and looking at what they funded last year. They didn't fund everything in the top 5, but they definitely paid attention. So
I'm trying to remember, some of these things you guys have said you're gonna take care of anyway, right?
Well, the way I always say it is, Phil and I will advocate for things that we feel are important, and that's separate from your prioritization. This is the
Not on
board's
this.
prioritization. There may be things that aren't on here that, I can't think of anything off the top of my head maybe it's purely a maintenance thing or something that, we just know needs done, or it could be something that surfaces after this report is submitted and approved. I mean, we're always going to advocate for what we know needs done.
So are any of these items on this list, things that you guys are already taking care of, or that's not the case?
I mean, I wouldn't put it
it's
that
not-
way.
It's what they're recommending. So it's more of like they recommend it and we recommend it, then it's a really strong
Yeah, like your first might be Bird Park bathroom and storm shelter. And mine, I won't speak for Phil, might be ice rink bleacher railing replacement. It's just two separate things.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know the best way to approach this. There's just lots of different ways you can do this. I'm kind of thinking everybody kind of pick out their top three and see if we can come up with some kind of consensus, at least at the top, and then we can kind of fill in from there. I can start. If that helps, or, or 3 to 5, I guess. I would like to see, so Middle and Seymour turf is due for replacing in 2026. The warranty ended in 2023. The field census we did showed that turf is utilized, meaning rented during hours that it can actually be used, so like not school hours. Like 90% of the time, and literally thousands of children use that turf and adults every year. And part of that project also is lighting the entire field. So right now, only middle field. So when you're looking at the field from Cedar, the left half of the field closest to Dixon is lit, the other half is not lit. So part of that project also is lighting the entire field, which adds a lot of usable hours. So for example, right now, I schedule youth lacrosse for boys. We can have one game we get the field at 6 or 6:30 after the high school uses it for baseball. We can schedule one game on a weeknight before it gets dark. If we had these lights, we could schedule 2 games. So if you add that up over the entirety of our season, even if we only get the turf 1 night a week or 2 nights a week, it's a lot of games that we can now play that we couldn't have played before. So those little kinds of things mean a lot to organizations. I know baseball, I just said, has 40 games they need to currently reschedule because of the rain. So if they could play on both, right now they play those games under the lights on Middle, but if they could also use Seymour, they could play 2 games. That's double the number of games they can play. So it does, the lighting makes a huge impact. The turf is one of the most utilized things that we have in our township. If you ever drive by, you'll see kids on it for the most part. So to me, that would be number 1, because it's due, it's time. It's always been on the top of the list to keep it in the mind of people. But the warranty has held up really well. It's been here longer than it was supposed to be. So for me, that's probably 1. I also like the Bird Park bathrooms. You have a preschooler doing soccer there. You would know that bathrooms on the field would be really nice to have. The golf course one is another one I think applies to quite a few people. A former board member talked about that it applies to senior golfers, female golfers, and youth golfers. All would take advantage of the forward tees. Let's see. I'm not as familiar with the things in the middle that were added. And then for me, instead of the dog park, I like putting McNeely Park up there. It's a big ticket item, but I want to get it up higher on the list, currently number 15. Because that is a very expensive project, but it's 3 fields, bathrooms, walking trails, a possible dog park. It could solve a lot of problems and be both passive and active recreation. It's one of the only spaces left in Mount Lebanon to actually do something and add capacity. So that would be on my list too. So those 4 things are my top 4 priorities. But I come from a sports fields background and less of some more of the recreation and then parks when you're putting it together. So I have a bias. I'm admitting to my bias there. So those are my 4. Does anybody else want to go and kind of say what their thoughts are in their top 3 to 5?
Based on our discussions last week, I think the field replacement, we all sort of agreed that there was a lot of benefit to the lighting and not only the surface. So maybe if we think about this in buckets of 5 or something. But in bucket, I don't know.
Yeah.
But as far as the field and Bird Park, I'm with you on those 2. Being a total noob and not sure what it would be great to get something done at McNeely, but it's so far away. But if if you all think that it's helpful to express our thoughts that it's important to the community, then sure, let's put it in.
I'm wondering, and I like your idea, Amanda, of what's going around with our top, 3 to 5 picks, but I'm wondering if there are some, as JJ said, we all are kind of in agreement
agreement on.
on, maybe we can buzz through these and move by unanimous consent or something that those might be on the list, and then we could perhaps save a little time, but be here all night, I don't care.
Yeah. Do you have any others? Yeah, do you have any others on your list that we did not, that you did not mention? I'm just kind of starring.
I actually do.
Yeah, we can talk
Yeah,
about
it looks
this in
like we have
trails
the same
thing.
one on there. Yeah, the
Okay.
trail connectivity and maintenance. I think
Gotcha.
I think that's important. We kind of started some of that, and I think that, that's something that I think the residents would, enjoy. And to have a more clear, program to put into place.
And I know when we were talking about that, the number 11 is kind of key to helping us keep the trails maintained and cleared. So although they are listed as two separate things, the maintenance equipment is kind of key for
Getting the trails
getting the
connected.
trails to work. One needs to happen for the other
For
one
the
to
other.
happen, so.
It will help, put it that way. It will help. It is not a solution, but it will help. So.
Okay.
I kind of like the idea of having, picking a couple that are for parks and a couple that are for sports. So you look at number 2 here, the Middle and Seymour turf replacement and the golf course forward tees as being sports related, and then bird park and then trail connectivity. So those would be the top 4.
Okay, that's a great way to think about it.
And I would add to that, I would say that items 3, 10, and 11 sort of all go together towards passive use park maintenance and enhancements. And those, I know we're not going by the price tag, but those add up to $128K, which is not insignificant, but it put in perspective compared to McNeely, which I support looking at further, at least. I mean, it
You
seems like.
said 3, 10, and 11, right?
I did that, so that'd be
But is the 3 though a commitment to more later?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the trick with 3. It's 32,000, but in reality, it's 32,000 this year, 300,000 the next year, and 117 the next year,
Plus 7 more years.
plus 7 more years after that. So if you're gonna do the plan for 32, you gotta follow through with the rest of the funding, or you've wasted the 32. So that, I agree with you that that's one of
So
the
what is-
main passive ones, but it's not, it's pricier than it appears.
What's
But
the 32 covered, like what is year 1 of that plan?
Year 1 finish is focused a lot in bird. Following years kind of program out the other 2, and then the big dollar years are the brush cutting years, you're planting, stuff like that. The subsequent years after, the dollar value comes back down because you're really practicing management at that point. It's a lot of field visits, it's a lot of eyes back on projects to make sure things aren't popping up that used to be there. So kind of envision it like a big wave.
So the 307 is like the peak investment.
It's one of them, yeah.
Okay.
and it adds up, I mean, if the 32, if you're doing my arithmetic right here, 32 and 307 plus 117 add up to 456, so.
Plus,
But
but
then
there's more years
four
after that. Yeah.
What would be the downswell? Best guess, like, we talking 50 grand a
It's-
year? Or
It's
80,
fully
100?
laid out for 10, I think that's what the RFP had asked for 10 years of management practices, taking into account inflation, a lot of things like that. So it's a good number to go off
Do
of.
you know the number?
I can find them all and lay them out per year, but
Like the management years are under 100 each?
I think 1 or 2 of them might be, but you're still gonna be in that 100K each year
Okay.
at that point.
That's helpful.
So all in, are you under $1 million?
No, I don't think.
It's a little over
I would say
for
a
the
little
10-year
over.
plan.
I thought based on the last meeting, maybe I misunderstood, was that some of this work had already been done, so it's kind of like we have to keep the ball moving forward, or maybe I misunderstood.
Some of this work is done right now. You right now have the 10K funding through your parks operating budget for invasive. So what that funds is both plant material, treatments of undesirables, fencing, odds and ends that are all pieces of this plan. So another way to think about it is that you just keep chipping away at it that way. The Conservancy does more than Public Works could ever commit to doing right now with the, the events they have in the groups of hands. So it's just if you want to go all in at it or, stick to how it's been managed, to this point, but.
Thanks.
That's not gonna affect, that trail maintenance at all. Through our,
In my opinion, no,
Okay.
they're two separate. We wouldn't, no.
To be clear, is there forestry and invasives management program going on right now at these 3 locations?
There's work done at all 3 of them every year.
Continuously.
Yes.
But
yeah,
this
I'm
would be a
saying, but it's like a
full-
low budget item that's doing like the minimum.
Yeah,
Where this is like a full plan to do all of it over 10 years.
These 3 locations.
yeah, these are for 3 locations.
It's kind of like we're out with the cold patch doing potholes in February as best we can, but the road needs repaved
Right.
at some point.
That's a good analogy, that you're like, you're patching things versus doing the whole thing. Okay, so Tom, you like 3, 10 and 11, anything
Yeah, I
else?
mean, I certainly, I see the need, I support the, number 2, because it's, we need to keep that going. And otherwise, I mean, I like them all, it's a
Sure.
problem, but, and McNeely, that's a huge number, we're not necessarily committing to that. All at once. So I could see a commitment by the municipality to re-engage Gateway or whatever the next conceptual design level needs to be taken to. And funding sources be solicited, et cetera, such that, there'll be another decision point in a year or so. Say,
Yeah,
okay, we could do this for 7
I'm-
million, or it's only 3 million, or holy cow, it's 40 million, or whatever.
and I'm not
Move
expecting
forward
them to
with
be
it.
like, hey, we're gonna fund McNeely Park in 2026.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not.
that's certainly not happening.
We all know that's not happening, but I think the idea is to get it up on the list so that it starts to become a topic of conversation is my thought on it.
Yeah.
But then it also ties into this youth sports organization, kind of interconnected, right?
I mean, yes and
At least
no.
that was the, no?
Yeah, I mean, that was our recommendation coming out of the field census, that that's the only way to add capacity. The youth sports organization is how are we gonna put all the different sports organizations under an umbrella? And who's gonna control the scheduling of the fields, yeah. It's more of a scheduling issue, not like what fields are there. It's more about how do you schedule what we have.
It was also like you wanted standards of, like people oversee the organizations because there were.
Issues with organizations and stuff like that. There's a governmental
Thing.
component of it and a scheduling component of it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little separate from the actual having the fields themselves, so.
Okay.
All right, Patrick or Natalie or Ian, do you guys have any thoughts on your top few?
My top few, again, I have 10 and 11. 11 is in 10, and then, I agree about keeping McNeely high on the list, just to keep it, in people's thoughts and stuff like that, but, in 3, the forestry invasives.
Okay.
And the park stuff.
I'm pretty biased to a lot of the park stuff, because that's the things I use and the things, I don't have kids in sports leagues. Certainly one thing, I mean, I wasn't, I looked it up, I don't go there myself, but I know there was the safety surface upgrades,
Mhm.
playgrounds. Kind of seemed like pretty easy thing to just knock off and say that you've done it. just to bring everything else up to what all the rest of them are. It seems like an easy win to me, which I think could be an easy sell to the
Sure,
commission to do.
yeah.
And certainly safety with parents is a big thing, and I know Mount Lebanon's so known for these kinds of public spaces that we have. It's just seemed like kind of low hanging fruit for me. I wouldn't know if I would put that as my top priority, but certainly something that I
Something
think
that
could
you
be,
would, could be on
could
the
be-
top 10.
could be done
Yeah.
pretty easily. That was-
And that's for Rockwood Park, and is that what you just did at, Country, what was it, Country Club? Or no, Williams?
Done Main Park, kind of as a Band-Aid, get me over until master plan was done. The next year we did Church Place.
Okay,
This year we did Williamsburg and Highland Terrace.
and Islanders, okay, so this is just like a continuation of that, adding another part.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thought being, if we have 20 of these, over 20 years, you hit them each once.
It's kind of a more in-depth look at each one to kind of get in the weeds onto the why is Rockwood labeled. It has newer equipment. There's some parks, Iroquois, that has some stuff that's reaching the end of its life. I don't want to get into that, right now. Rockwood is always gonna have the footprint of Rockwood. And that equipment is,
It's safe to do because you're not, they're not gonna change it.
in my mind, that's why I picked the ones that I've picked. Church Place, we don't even own the property, so, that playground will be, in that spot long-term, so.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, and I know we're only talking about this year and last year, maybe going back to the Parks Advisory Board, I was a little frustrated that, we don't look out, a number of years. Cause like number 12 seems like something that ought to be on the budget every year for the next X years until 5 years, whatever.
And it is.
until we-
It'll be
when we
what
got-
I'm plugging in.
Yeah, it's on his budget, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's just some of those Parks Master Plan low ones that, don't impact your capacity as staff. It actually helps out. So that's my mindset when I look through all this stuff.
Okay, Ian, anything else, Ian?
Again, this is my own, like.
Yeah, but I admit your bias
Yeah,
and state
sure.
it.
I like the trail connectivity and maintenance and also the Sunset Hills, Park Phase 2.
Phase 2, okay. Yeah, that's on my list too, but just further down. All right, Pat.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I like middle of Seymour turf replacement, lighting and fencing project. If we can add capacity to that field, I mean, it's used by every age group, girls, boys, kids, adults.
Every sport.
It's unbelievable. So I like that. I like number 1, Bird Park bathroom and storm shelter, pavilion. I mean, we have games and stuff there. They have nowhere to go to the bathroom.
No, there's a porta potty.
Is this more for down into the park?
No, it's like on the field. There is
So it is
there is a
also
porta
for
potty
the
on the field.
fields.
It would be like on the
Right,
field.
so they need a bathroom.
The only there is a bathroom down lower by the campground
This is
part.
for the
No.
field.
No, there's no water
Oh,
down.
there's 2 porta johns. So there's no bathroom in all of Bird Park.
No.
Amanda, what is the use of percentage overall of, as far as sports for Bird Park? Like from your study that.
I'd have to go, I don't have it with me. I'd have to go look. It's high.
Okay, compared to.
I mean, it's nothing compared to the Cedar Turf, but like rec soccer, the micro soccer uses it.
Cedar Field probably, then upper field will be number 2, maybe Bird Park's getting in there, number 3.
Yeah, I mean,
Something
it
like
depends
that.
on who's leasing it. I'm trying to think who has it over this in the spring, soccer primarily, don't they?
Primarily, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Unless-
primarily used for soccer. Middle school soccer plays their games there. That's the reason how I became aware of it is when my daughter was playing middle school soccer, they canceled a game because there was a chance of a thunderstorm because they didn't have anywhere for the kids to go if they called the game in the middle of the game. So they just flat out canceled the game and then tonight, because it's not right.
Does Crowd use it anymore?
No, we have a little bit of time in the summer, but we play all our games on turf now.
And that would be adequate, that storm shelter.
Yeah,
Pavilion.
yes, right. So I mean, primarily, the soccer, the little kids soccer, in terms of like number of children using the field at one time, that would be the rec program, the soccer, micro soccer. Between practices and games, there's probably, how many kids do you have every year? 500 or 600 kids every?
We're probably more in the 400 to 500
Four,
range
yeah.
per season.
Per
twice
season,
a year, yeah.
twice a year. And if you've ever gone down there with kids and then had one kid have to go to the bathroom and you have a baby and a kid and a tot, and then that's what those people are, cause if you have a preschooler playing soccer, probably got a baby, you probably got an
Yes.
older one, and if they have to go to the bathroom, it's not.
I do that right now.
Plus, and if you take into consideration the people that do the organizations and stuff that use the lower part of Bird Park for camping or whatever, and then all the people hiking and walking, I mean, I think that bathroom would be a bathroom.
It's a
that
lot
would be
of use.
utilized. It's a well-used
That's
park.
necessary, y'all know.
So I like that. I like 3, even if it's over $1 million over 7 years. I like investing in, invasives and the management program. If we're gonna spend a couple $1 million on sports, I don't have a problem spending $1 million in the parks for invasives, and forestry management. I'm okay with that. Kind of like it. The invasive nature of plants kind of bothers me. And it's only gonna get worse, right?
Yep.
Yep. So,
I think that people are becoming more aware of a lot of things, which helps.
so Bird Park restoration, what is it, the string? Between that and 10 and 11, I'm okay with 4, and I'm okay with 10 and 11.
Great.
We'll have like team rec pick like their top 3 and 4 and team park.
Well, I think
pick
just,
their top
I'm just
3
gonna
and
go,
4.
I'm gonna throw out a couple of numbers and
Yeah.
we're gonna have David, he can update his sheet of live. And then we can kind of just see where we are, but based on what everybody just said, I think it's fair to put the number 2 as number 1. If we follow that then with a parks thing, I mean, I don't care if we go every other one. I think that's a nice compromise. So do you guys want to do 10 and 11 as number 2, Bird Park restrooms as number 2? Or the forestry invasion management plan as number 2?
I would do 10 and 11 as number 2 for the Bird Park.
I personally would agree with that, I like that.
You wanna call that one thing going forward and merge the 2 together?
Yeah,
Or what are you merging?
so first,
10 and
before
11.
poor David's trying to like catch up.
We can, after the dust settles type thing.
Yeah, so make 10 and 11 on your new column, David, 2, both of them number 2. We're gonna combine those into one thing.
10 and 11 are gonna be 2-2.
Yep.
Combo,
And then
Got
if
it.
you scroll back up to Cedar,
and
to
that
middle,
was 1.
1, yep,
Make it easier.
okay. So for 3, do we like Bird Park bathrooms, golf course, Sunset Hills, or McNeely?
I think we gotta do those Ts.
Yeah. I picked that as 3.
Okay, let's do the golf course forward tees as 3. I think that's an easy, like,
It's
not that
it's
expensive.
that you knock out.
Yeah. And they've been talking about for a while, haven't they, David? I feel like that's
Forever.
been on the list, yeah. All right, so number 4, do we want to go back to Bird Park bathrooms or the forestry plans? The invasives. I like the Bird Park bathroom personally, but
The bathrooms.
that's kind of a cross between parks. It's
Yeah, 'cause
it's a little bit of both.
The park is used for so many different reasons.
Yeah, so that's 4.
So then with the invasives plan be 5.
Sounds good to me.
Wait a minute, that's the 3? No, I have 3. So the
Number 3 is now
number
5.
3 is now 5. Got it?
Can we make McNeely 6? This is like a negotiation. I'm
I
happy to
love
make
the
Six is
pace,
good.
people, good job.
He likes the pace. Well, we're gonna do it quick and then we're gonna go back and be like, it's okay, this is what we meant. All right, so 6 for McNeely Park. So what do we have left? Sunset Hills to be 7,
Playground safety.
Oh, right.
yeah, or the playground safety.
I do the playground safety.
Yeah.
Okay, 7,
The concern with Sunset Hills Park, that's down on Broward, right?
Mhm.
I think it's just the the neighbors and that traffic in
Mhm.
there, the more you add, you know what I mean? I think
Well,
that, is that a concern? to
it's
residents?
definitely a concern to the residents, but the plan is gonna alleviate the problem because instead of parking in front of all those houses to pick up your kid from a sports practice, you'd be parking in a parking lot that's on the park, in the park.
So in that area that is kind of that turnaround.
There's three different renderings estimated, somewhere around 20 to 28 parking spots,
Okay.
And it would be taking up a little bit of the field, right, down low.
depending on how. It looks like the most logical way would you lose a little bit of field.
You'd lose a little bit of field. But the field has gotten bigger because they made it a rectangle field versus they took out the baseball diamond. So it's actually, and there's still room to go.
That's part of that is that
Yeah.
you might not actually.
I walked
do
it the other
that.
day to really get a better feel for the fences and like where things were. And there's some room to push in kind of, not, well, the one direction, there's no room, but the two other directions, there's a room to.
What was done there already?
There was an infield skin that was down there, wasn't scheduled anymore. That got hogged out, topsoil brought in, seeded. It went from a half baseball diamond like Oakland A's style stadium to just one big rectangular.
Still natural grass, it's
It's
still
still grass.
natural.
And it's,
Fencing got ripped down on the slope side of it, got replaced. The rest wasn't touched, knowing that there's more that needs
Is there
done.
drainage enhancements or
Not
Not-
really,
not part of that?
no, but I mean, there's,
but the quality of the field in the last 2 years has been far better
yeah,
than
it's
it
been
has
better.
ever
It
been before.
needs some rebound work this year, but that's okay, what we were supposed to
How
be
much
doing.
usage does it get?
A lot, more
Does
than
it?
anything. In the
For what,
spring,
like
in the,
soccer and
in the
stuff?
spring, lacrosse and soccer split it. And it's not our favorite field to use for lacrosse. If we can get on something else, we would do it, but
Why isn't it? What's the?
because of the getting there is not super easy, the parking situation. It's not a full field. So like if
Okay.
you're playing on a sport that's a full football field, like lacrosse is for older kids, and you can go to Mellon or you can go there, you're gonna go to Mellon.
Can it be,
Cause it's just not a full field.
can it be made larger?
Not,
in that
it'll
case,
never be a
or
football
that's-
field.
That's the maximum.
No.
Really, it's not ideal.
But
for players.
soccer's playing, I mean, we have fine practices there, all age groups, and soccer uses it for smaller games, for like their younger kid games. They align it and put goals up, so it's being, in the spring, we'll use, in the fall, I think it's all soccer, I believe.
So they invested, so there's been investment down there. It's been
Yes.
made better,
Right,
so that's good.
and size-wise, it's a
Also, if there's a
big field.
multi-use court, is anyone using that?
that needs revamped, that's
No,
part of the.
there is not one now.
So this would be new.
There's a basketball court that
Yeah.
would be turned into like a multi-purpose
Is there
or
a
something.
bathroom down there?
Porta John,
Since
it
it's,
may be, yeah,
Yes.
we have one there.
yeah, since there's already been investment and money spent, then maybe you go forward and finish it with parking and enhance the parking, maybe, I don't know about a multi-use court, I don't see the use, I don't think anyone will use it.
They would, because you can use it for all kinds of stuff if you have a fenced in multi-use court.
For what?
Well, originally when it was, when they wanted to do it, soccer wanted to do futsal courts on there. They've since put futsal courts at Jefferson Elementary School
Anyone
on their
use them?
blacktop all the time.
Futsal? Is that little square round
No, it's just a
thing?
heavier ball, but they use it with a regular soccer ball. Kids are using it on the
Is there a
playground.
league? Or
No,
just
but
play,
the
just play?
Mountain Lebanon Soccer Association uses it as part of it. And they do have a winter league that they do indoors. And then field hockey can use it for an indoor court. A lacrosse can use it for.
So this would be bigger than a basketball court?
It's the same size
Or
as a
similar
basketball court.
size?
It would be, there's different variations, but it could either be, it could eat up the whole existing basketball space that's there now, or you could make it half playground, half basketball. There's
It's
a bunch of ways
taking
you
that
can chop
space
it up.
and figuring out what is best for it.
You
At
know
the time,
balls on it?
the one that I've spec'd out is it's all steel enclosure, with kind of bank boards around it. There's soccer goals, there's basketball, there's 7 different sports to do while you're inside the ring, so to speak, so.
yeah.
And
there's
does that
inline
exist
skate- yeah,
anywhere
there's-
in Mount Lebanon today?
no. Other than Jefferson Elementary has the surface, they have the multi-purpose surface. If you want to go look at the blacktop down there, check it out.
And we're gonna put a multi-use court at McNeely, cause we don't need 2.
No, we would do all fields there. It would be a baseball field with 2 rectangular fields. I think is what would be the best serve.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could do that, and, but the idea there is, at one point, we had discussed, like, when we had met with people in the neighborhood and stuff, is Williams, Bird Park is just kind of down the street, and that's a great playground for smaller children. And so they were talking about doing like a teen more playground at Brafferton with like a zip line or like some older kids stuff, like a half a basketball court and a zip line, and making it more of an attractive place for older kids to go that would counter the younger kids park. Again, there's nothing, I don't think, set in stone. There's a bunch of different ideas. But this would be like the funding to finish that project.
Okay.
So that's, where were we?
I think we're ready for number 7.
Number 7. So that's a thought.
Oh,
for-
we did 7.
Oh, we did 7, so that would
Playground
be-
is 7.
Yeah, so we need,
Surface.
that could be 8,
So we wanna make Bradfordton 8.
which is already
I
gonna,
can find it. What is that?
it's already 8.
Oh, it's all right, it's number 8 already.
Nice.
My cursor is right there. There it is.
Okay, so what's left? We have Bird Park stream restoration, ice rink bleachers, racket center stuff, so 4, 5, and 6 are left, right? Dog park, which I go with McNeely, but, and then the pavilion upgrades and roof replacements.
Can I chime in on the bleachers? I think that would be an easy one to, and safety minded.
Yeah, I agree. Make that 9. And I'm sorry, Michelle, did you have any other ones that you wanted to put up higher?
No, you guys have been in sync with what I've been thinking, so.
I apologize.
No, you're good. I'll chime in if I have something. I
Okay,
do have
perfect.
to leave in 15 minutes though anyways, but,
You're
no,
crazy.
I didn't mention anything before for the, bleachers, just because I think it was kind of a lower bar item, but I do think maybe it's a top
needs-
10 because it is just an easy kind of one and done, and a safety thing as well.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so that's 9, then we're down to the stream restoration, the racket center, dog park, and the pavilions.
6, 13, and 14 are all kind of maintenance things we talked before about how.
I would not waste your ranking on,
Pardon?
is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
I would not use one of your ranking spots on 13 or 14.
Okay, because it's gonna happen anyhow, and
Yeah, we're not gonna leave a deteriorated roof on a pavilion, you know,
Right,
it'll get done.
yeah. I would say then, I love, first, I'm so excited about the racket center and the changes they've made there. I think it's awesome that we finally have the right personnel there. And that we're incorporating in like grouping tennis and pickleball and paddle all together. I think that's awesome. But they got a ton of money to do various things last year. So to me, I have that kind of lower on the list in my mind because they got a lot of different things funded last year, including like whole court restoration. They got a bunch of stuff. So to me, I would put, if we're down to 4, 6, and then the 2 you just said don't put too high up, I would do the stream restoration next. And then I guess dog park is in here too. That one. Racket, so what are we on?
Oh, 10 is stream restoration,
Okay.
and then 11.
So we have 11.
And back to the dog park, the location is TBD. That's not the point of this conversation. It's just
Right.
like, do we want one somewhere?
Right,
Yes.
And we talked
said
that
yes.
the municipality might fund that.
We got a memo from Ian kind of discussing dog park. And I think the gist of it was there was there were people that wanted a dog park, but no one wanted it near their neighborhood. So
that's why McNeely is a good place for it.
that's why it really didn't get a lot of traction.
Yeah.
And so McNeely was proposed in the master plan as a potential location, but I think it was just proposed as a study. So I mean, I don't know.
So if we're gonna put a dog park in, which I'm not opposed to, I think it should be centrally located. So everyone can benefit from it.
But if nobody wants it in their backyard, then they don't want it to be
Because only
centrally
if
located.
it's in McNeely, for example, only that side of town will use it. And you know what? I wouldn't mind people in my neighborhood taking their dog to a dog park. But I don't live near McNeely.
I'm not a dog person, so I can't speak to what people travel with their dogs to go to a dog park or not.
I mean,
I
I
am another
think
you,
people
but-
would travel. I,
South Fayette.
Yeah, that's what-
Beautiful dog park out there.
Yeah, I think people travel for dog parks more than you think.
we take our dogs to like Settlers, Carnegie, like. If.
I know people
Within
will do
limits, I think
trails
people
for
would
sure.
travel.
Very nice. I know, obviously, we all know how small this town is, but like Bird Park, it's right there. There's a little bit of green space, but then that, obviously, people will be mad because that takes away from
Right.
other things, but, and there's dogs already are allowed there, right? So there is peripheral noise of dogs walking around there, and there's actually a house on the corner there where their dogs bark all day. You walk by there with the dog and the dogs freak out. So I mean, I'm just saying is that, like, dogs are already allowed there,
Right.
but the space that could be used for that is quite small. But
Another thing that to think about, if you're really gonna think out farther, is if McNeely Park were to happen and you added fields there. That frees up some of the fields then that we currently have. So like Bird Park. Maybe you don't need the full field. Maybe you take a corner of Bird Park and make it a dog park, or maybe Brafferton isn't utilized as much, so you take a corner of that and make it a dog park. Like, I think if we had more fields, it developed elsewhere, that might open up some spaces that we don't want to currently give up because they're being used for something else.
one question I did have, because I filled out a lot of the surveys that came out in reference to a dog park. And if somebody is opposed to it, a resident, I mean, what's their recourse? Just to email the commissioners and complain about it? Or I mean, like realistically, if the township wanted it there, just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
What would they do?
I think it's a matter, in my experience, how loud the dissent is. But they do listen to the dissent, I think at times. I mean, if you want to know why only half of the cedar turf is lit, it's because the neighbors on the other half were loud
About not having it.
about not wanting lights in their
Oh.
backyard. So I mean, people have talked about like turfing Bird Park and doing things there, and people protested
Yeah.
and slept outside, and I mean, I've heard stories of people like chaining themselves to fences and all kinds of stuff, so, trees, sorry. So over the years, like, the.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's a function of like how loud is the dissent, and it may only be a few people, but if they're loud enough, they in the past, they have been listened to. It's a matter of where you are on the ebb and flow of things.
Similarly, they put in the pickle courts on North Meadowcroft by Lincoln, and then they got a bunch of complaints about it as soon as.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw one just the other day.
Nuisance stuff, but
They're
they're
not
not,
complaining about the parking.
they're not
It's like
going
the first
anywhere.
meeting we haven't had a complaint about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
It depends.
it's always gonna be there, but at the same time, now we know like the number of people using that. Or, like, how well
Oh,
it's used,
yeah.
and does that outweigh the
Right,
handful of people that it's
exactly,
impacting about it, so. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think,
It helps, yeah.
yeah, I think the perspective is you just don't know how loud they're gonna complain and how many complaints are gonna be. I've not really heard that they don't want it in their backyard, but I can understand it.
You
In
should
the sense of like
reread
parking and
Ian's-
stuff like,
reread Ian's email.
Okay.
And he kind of summarizes the whole dog park
thing,
issue, and it's in the drive,
okay,
in the dog park folder.
Okay.
all right, well, we can make that 11 and. What do we have left? The racket center 12, the racket center's maintenance stuff would be 12. That's currently, yeah,
And then you have, 13.
and then we just have the pavilion stuff, I think. It'd be 13, 14, which is what they are.
Okay,
And then since we have choo-choos,
We should be good, right? So do we want to kind of read through where we were and make sure everybody's good with that list?
so, We have one is Middle and Seymour turf replacement, et cetera. Two, we had combined trail connectivity and maintenance with park and field maintenance equipment. 3, golf course forward tees. 4, bird park bathroom and storm shelter. 5, implementation of forestry and invasives. 6 is somewhere here.
That was McNeely.
Thank you, McNeely. 7, playground safety surface. 8, Sunset Hills Park. 9, ice rink bleacher railing replacement. 10, bird park stream restoration. 11, dog park. And then really it's 12 and 13 now, not 13.
12 was Racket Center.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did we combine and end up with the same number?
12,
12?
and then you have 13, 14. Yeah, and then,
Okay.
because there's a 15 below that.
That is why, thank you. Got it.
13, 14. All right, is everybody, how do we feel? Everybody comfortable? Anybody
Yep.
really not settling? Well, one of those.
Good list, good discussion.
Okay, see, we can do this.
We can,
Okay, so we just need somebody to motion that this is our list that we want to recommend to the commissioners. Anybody want to make the official motion?
I will make the official motion.
In a second,
A second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
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 And all opposed? Okay, so we have our list, David.
hang on, I gotta
You're good.
get back
I know
off
he's
of
all-
that list and, get to wherever we were on the agenda.
Well, we kind of, I feel like then the next thing
Final
on,
ranking, so who was, it was Natalie was the, motion and who seconded?
Pat and I think we all.
we all did Tom.
Unanimous.
I'm giving it to Tom.
Combine Tom with Pat,
Okay.
get one person.
Pat did it.
All right, are you good, David, then? You think you got it?
I got it.
Okay, just a little cutting and pasting tomorrow, you're good to go.
Sorting and, yeah.
Oh, yeah, even better, you can just
So you can sort and delete that other. column.
sort and delete the other column and bold it. You can have that done.
And then I'll make it pretty.
All right, thank you. Hopefully that will be well received and, if there's anything else we need to do in the budgeting process, let us know. All right, moving on to last item of old business is the dog park research. So we just heard about the email from Ian. Anything else on the dog park thing? I feel like we kind of already. Okay, on to new business. The work plan approval. So also in your packet is the work plan. And this is just a list of kind of our objectives basically for the year. So if everybody, did you guys see this last time? And we just didn't vote on it?
Correct.
Okay, so does anybody have any changes they want to make to it or are we good to just vote on it? I'm gonna vote on this. So, what's in this?
Tom Sufchuk tried to get. that voted.
I don't even know.
Yeah, you tried very
Tom didn't
hard.
want to do anything.
I was with you.
All right, well then, do we have a motion to pass our work plan? Okay, and a second? Okay, Ian's gonna second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that was even faster.
There you go.
So work plan is approved. That's what you said we had to do. The project list, the work plan, the officers, check, 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 check.
Well done.
Okay.
And it's just a little over an hour.
Okay, so last but not least, on the new business, before we go, new business, the time, so I wanna circle back to that. There's been a request to move back to 6 p.m.
Anyone opposed to that?
Anyone opposed to that, except for David, who has to now go back and change it on all the things.
Makes your day a little shorter though.
It's fine. That's no problem. Whatever you need.
You and Phil.
All good.
If everybody in the current committee is good with 6, I'm sure Tom does not love 6, but he'll survive. Cause I know if he's even, he travels a lot and stuff for work, so it may not even impact him that much. He called in more than. Okay, so do we need to vote?
Yeah, let's,
Okay.
so it sounds like Pat made a motion
Yes.
to move to 6. Is there a second?
Anybody a second? Go back to 6,
Second.
okay? All approved? Or all, yeah.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so
Thank
we'll
you
go
all.
ahead and move that back to 6 p.m. I wasn't, so at the did we have a list in the last meeting of like all the meetings for the next year? That, sometimes it lists all, there's somewhere there's a list.
We do, and just to like back up for a second about that motion, so I need to make sure we have the room, which I think we will. And I just need to make sure that there's no concerns from the commission or manager, and then I'll need to do the legal advertisement, so I think it's all gonna happen, but just no, I'll confirm that for sure before the next meeting.
Thank you.
And then what was the next thing, Amanda?
I was just, it's always the third Wednesday, right?
It is, and trying to
Oh, it's
think.
on my birthday this year, guys.
Oh, big party.
That's exciting. Sorry.
Lucky you.
Are we gonna have to bring a cake?
I won't be, yeah, only. Okay,
I think I might have it in the drive.
I'm sorry, I was just going through real quick to see if there was any obvious like bad. 18, no, we're good. I was looking at like spring break again, because we messed that up last year. Okay, I think we're good. There's nothing that was coming to mind at least about bad. Like in the middle of something that is important.
Most thanks.
You know where it probably is in the minutes from when it was approved.
was probably
But
was.
it is the third
It's the third Wednesday.
Wednesday. It would just be a matter of changing that time.
Okay. All right, so the next meeting then is gonna be Wednesday, June 18th, at 6 p.m.
Right.
Anybody have any other announcements? Or new business or anything that we did not talk about that we should be talking about? All right, then we're gonna adjourn at 8:15. Not
Yeah.
bad.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Oh, she's doing.